If you are looking for an absolute masterclass in high-octane medical realism, razor-sharp corporate sabotage, and a pulse-pounding, deeply terrifying, deadly conspiracy inside the ER's psychological thriller, you need to clear your calendar from Mike Krentz. We are stepping directly onto the chaotic, hyper-pressurized front lines of emergency medicine with Warm and Dead, the spectacular, high-velocity, and beautifully executed second installment in the critically acclaimed Dr. Zack Winston series. Let's lay out the strategic narrative grid. If you are a fan of stories where a highly dedicated, fiercely principled emergency room physician uncovers a lethal pattern of anomalies within his own hospital network, where saving lives on the trauma bay floor is suddenly complicated by a lurking multi-million-dollar institutional cover-up, and where the author utilizes real-world medical expertise to construct a flawless investigative perimeter, this book is engineered to lock you in. Krentz completely dominates the medical procedural suspense dynamic, capturing the heart-racing tension and sterile, high-stakes atmosphere popularized by Michael Crichton, Robin Cook, and Tess Gerritsen, while treating clinical tradecraft, biological vectors, and administrative corruption with exquisite care. The narrative brings us back to Dr. Zack Winston, the brilliant, hyper-observant emergency physician who operates under the ancient medical maxim that a hypothermia patient isn't truly dead until they are warm and dead. Working in a bustling, high-volume trauma center where split-second clinical calculations dictate human survival, Zack operates within a strict perimeter of patient advocacy and medical ethics. But the fragile routine of his emergency department is permanently shattered when a series of bizarre, highly unusual patient deaths begins to track across his shift log, breaching the hospital's safety grid. The spark ignites when seemingly salvageable patients under hypothermic or cardiac duress begin to crash and expire despite flawless execution of standard resuscitation protocols. Zack's elite diagnostic instincts sound a massive alarm. This isn't standard clinical failure. This is systematic, calculated interference. The local medical grid takes an incredibly hostile turn when his independent investigation into these anomalies reveals a terrifying trail of altered pharmaceutical records, suspicious equipment failures, and a shadow network operating deep within the executive healthcare infrastructure. Zack's fierce protective and investigative instincts lock on with absolute unyielding intensity, recognizing that a cold-blooded killer or a rogue corporate entity is using the chaos of the ER as a perfect camouflage for murder, and that hospital leadership is actively working to suppress the data to protect their stock value in federal funding, he drops his standard diplomatic buffer. Partnering with a tight, covert alliance of trusted medical staff and external investigative allies, Zack launches a dangerous, high-stakes crusade to expose the clinical sabotage before the next ambulance bay delivery becomes an automatic casualty. What follows is an exceptional, high-stakes war of intellect and medical survival. The forced proximity reality of working alongside potential saboteurs in a sterile environment turns the hospital into a psychological pressure cooker. To unmask the overarching conspiracy, Zack must decode cryptic laboratory results, navigate cutthroat boardroom politics, and survive a hidden vanguard of corporate fixers who will stop at nothing to ensure his medical license and his life are permanently revoked. It is a medical conspiracy thriller / emergency room suspense / corporate healthcare noir / clinical manhunt masterpiece that treats institutional power and biological survival with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, do not trust the IV bag energy, where every sudden telemetry alarm, every undocumented chart update, and every quiet conversation in an empty staff lounge carries massive structural weight. The tense tactical standoff between Zack's unyielding commitment to the Hippocratic Oath and the lawless elements manipulating the hospital grid is top tier. Krentz writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully authentic voice, perfectly capturing the adrenal-fueled chaos of a trauma bay, the cold calculations of administrative sociopaths, and the distinct, subtle scent of institutional panic. What truly elevates this milestone second entry into elite thriller territory is the author's unmatched real-world medical background, translating genuine clinical authenticity into pulse-pounding suspense. Dr. Zack Winston isn't an unfeeling superhero. His physical exhaustion, professional vulnerabilities, and deep moral responsibility to his patients match the complexity of the medical crimes he is fighting step for step, making his race against the ticking clock feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping.
The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense diagnostic breakthroughs and forensic discoveries before ratcheting up to an absolute breathtaking final showdown in the depths of the medical complex. Warm and Dead is the definitive pro-level upgrade your medical suspense and contemporary crime library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputtable. It proves that the most terrifying dangers aren't always found in the outside world, but can be waiting for you in a sterile room under a doctor's care. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, open your Kindle, and prepare to monitor your vitals.